What is the worst inclusive language error you've ever seen?
Oh gosh. We're talking diversity, right?
Yes.
Okay. I just came out of a headlines thing. My head is still reeling from that. I think I've seen stories that talk about the pilots and engineers, and they refer to them all as he when that's not clear in the story yet. We've had to fix that a couple of times.
Oh God. There are a couple. I guess the most recent one would be a book I was editing where the writer used the term mongoloid. So I had to sort of go in and be like, hey, very nicely break it to him, like, this is a little bit dated. Some readers might find it a little bit offensive. Maybe we want to try, this word instead, just so it's a little more neutral and people can focus on your message instead of the language that you're using. So that actually went over really well. He was an older gentleman. He was like kind of educated back in the day when we were still using terms like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so it worked out. He was receptive.
Oh God, there are so many to choose from. I think the one that comes to mind at this moment was a few years ago there was a boxer who had announced that he was gay, and he was fighting in the championship fight. So he had lost the fight, and the headline said, "Gay boxer loses title fight." And we were like, oh no. So I used that one in my editing class and in my sports and culture class to talk about a person's sexuality has no influence on their athletic prowess. Why is that a headline? We would never write heterosexual boxer wins or loses a title fight. So that one was this is not good.
Most inclusive language errors, I think, come from sort of missing the point, missing the gist, making assumptions. So I think that's the thing that editors can look for, that we all have assumptions. We all are comfortable with certain language that we're used to, that we read all the time, and we need to be aware that that doesn't necessarily follow through. The one thing I see again and again is where a male pronoun is used generally, which some people will say grammatically that's fine, but I think you have to be living under a rock to actually believe that there's not baggage involved with using he to mean humanity. We just don't do that, and we could do it, but it's just not right. It's exclusive. But it goes beyond that. It's sort of, we have a habit maybe where we will make assumptions about race, gender. We'll talk about skin tone. You'll see somebody say flesh tone when to describe a color that may be sort of this pinkish off-white, when flesh, of course, we know runs a huge gamut of colors. It's across the spectrum. So I don't have a particular, I can't think of a particular worst error I've seen, but you do see recurring errors, and sometimes it's just, sometimes you can see it comes to prejudice, sometimes it comes from ignorance, just sort of not really thinking about the language we're using and what people who are different than we are, people who are different from people who are not us, who are not, I'm a middle-aged white male, but I don't edit for exclusively middle-aged white men, and I don't edit writers who are exclusively middle-aged white men. And even if I did, language shouldn't be exclusive, it should be inclusive, it should take into account everybody who might be reading it, and even those people who wouldn't be reading it.